We're joined by Douglas Clayton, you're CEO of Leopard Capital. Now, you're a GP focusing mainly on Indochina, although Bangladesh, Sri Lanka are also a couple of the countries you're targeting. How would you regard the Asia market at the moment for private equity firms, generally speaking?
There's tremendous interest globally in Asia, but it's been focused so far in China and India. We're trying to expand the asset class into the frontier markets, which are overlooked but are growing almost equally fast, have in some cases more opportunities but less competition.
Well, at the recent Super Return Asia conference in Hong Kong, there was a lot of interest in China. I think there was a poll of participants, and most of them wanted to get into China, then India, as you say, and then perhaps some of the other places in Asia would have been Japan, Australia, perhaps Southeast Asia, but not so much. How difficult is it to convince LPs to put their money into Indochina right now?
Not only Indochina, but any market other than China or India, it's very challenging because most traditional LPs have never been out to these places on an investment mission, so they don't know the risks, the economies, the opportunities. So it's a very difficult job, but we think if it was easy, there'd be a lot of people there and the returns would go down. So we undertake that challenge, and we managed to get 107 investors to back us in Cambodia during the financial crisis. But that took a lot of meetings and a lot of travels.
You're investing small amounts of money, essentially. I mean, small amounts, but we're talking about, say, 2-3 million.
But we're investing in an earlier stage. So even though we only have a $34 million fund in Cambodia, we're in the largest bank, the largest cell phone company, the only seafood processing plant, the highest end brewery. A lot of industries that would take maybe 10 times or more as much money to access in a bigger country.
That's the first fund. What are you planning with the second one? How big would that be?
We're going to step up to a $50 million fund for Cambodia and Laos. That'll follow when we're fully invested in Cambodia. And then we'll do a $60 million fund in Sri Lanka and a $100 million fund in Bangladesh. So these funds we all hope to launch next year with separate teams for each one.
And what sectors are you particularly looking at investing in?
We like financial services, we like consumer goods, and things related to agriculture or food processing, and basic utilities. Anything that can bring goods and services to rural areas where the margins are good and there's often not much competition, or things that benefit from the rising middle class in these countries. These generally basic industries.
What sort of returns can LPs expect from Indochina?
We target 30% per annum returns, and that can come from a variety of ways, but in many cases we hope to be able to list our companies into the local stock exchanges, and during a 5 or 10 year period, often the fluctuations of valuations can work in our favor.
Your website lists a number of things you're not going to be investing in. Why are you avoiding certain investments, such as alcohol?
Well, the traditional LPs for frontier markets are the development financial institutions like the World Bank's IFC and the Asian Development Bank, and we follow their exclusionary lists so that when they evaluate us for future funds, they will see that we're sympathetic to their requirements.
Do you think it's still going to be a tough sell, I take it, because everybody at the moment, perhaps in the US or Europe, would be thinking if they're going to put money into Asia, it's going to be into China. China is sucking in so much foreign investment.
I see it as the supply and demand for capital. I think there's 300 or 500 GPs in China and maybe 200 or 300 in India. When you have that many GPs, they're all looking for the same deals. So an entrepreneur or management team can shop his deal around and get a price that's favorable for him and not so good for the investors. In our case, we're either the first or only fund in a country or one of very few. So we hope to be able to negotiate much better entry valuations and achieve higher returns.
Douglas Clayton of Leopard Capital, thanks a lot.
Thanks very much.